everybody, and welcome to Aggieville Alleycats, or rather, Nights in the Ville, the offshoot spin-off of Aggieville Alleycats, where it's just a bunch of guys talking ball. We'll put a bunch of microphones in front of us, and we say some outlandish things. The itinerary for today's episode will be going over the Cure commitment from the round table. You've already heard Connor and I's thoughts, talking a little bit about Monterio Elston, and then finally the twin Catsketballs, both men's and women's. But let's just go around the round table again and let everyone introduce themselves. We may have someone coming in later, and no, it's not the bell you just heard. That is my cat. We may have someone coming in a little bit later who was on last week's episode. But for now, we have two returning guests and then one new one, but you're probably familiar with. Let's just go ahead and start from on my screen to my right. That would be you, Ethan.
Okay.
We don't know who that. We don't have the same screens.
No, my fault.
But yeah, Ethan Brown, G-Easy, pleasure to be here. And I thought the bells were Santa, low-key.
Hayes.
Hey, I'm Hayes. Hawhungate on Twitter. Went to K-State a couple years ago, and big fan.
Notorious yeller of Dave's.
Correct. And other things that we'll keep off.
Yeah.
Oh man, that yelling at the Iowa State game, I'll never forget that. I'm Aiden. I was on the episode last 2 weeks ago. So if you hate me, sorry, I'm back. No.
And then, of course, Connor. You all know Connor.
Who?
Do I need to introduce myself? Yeah, I'm on pretty much every episode.
Connor, what's your address?
I'll give you the address that I last lived at.
I would appreciate if you didn't do that, actually. That'd be really cool.
Oh, that would have been a great Easter egg.
But we're just going to start off by talking a little bit about the commitment of Lincoln Cure. And this is something that Connor and I talked about. So this is more for the round table to talk about. Obviously, it's the first 5-star commitment in K-State history. It is a Kansas kid. So just what are your guys' thoughts on pretty much anything about Lincoln Cure? And anyone who claims the spot to go first goes first.
I'll go first. Great football name, first off, that he passes the test there, which is not super important, but it's pretty important. He is very tall. I like that. I liked Ben Sinnott as kind of a smaller like H-back style, but I do love that we're getting like a kind of an actual freak athlete. Not to say that Ben Sinnott wasn't and that Garrett Oakley isn't, but Cure's track times mixed with that height and weight is just kind of something you don't see very often in college or really even in the NFL. So if he has the career that I think he has, I will be very excited.
Yeah, and Connor looked up a little bit whenever you talked about Oakley. And you be very careful with what you say.
I know. I'm all in on Garrett Oakley, but
yeah. Ethan.
Dude, this Lincoln Cure guy, he's what the guys in the industry like to call a jumbo athlete. And I like the sound of that. I like my football players to be jumbo athletes, just big guys. He's got gray hair, he can catch the ball, and he can stiff arm a guy into the ground. That's what I like to see. So not that this is a killer analysis that you're coming here for. And emphasize the great hair. Big time. Big
tall. He has a good name. He has great hair. What more do you want?
Well, now we're going to turn to the other guy with elite hair in this call, and that's Hayes.
Thank you. I love it. I was just thinking, I feel like I haven't seen a stereotypical almost tight end prospect, or at least like an athletic stereotypical one in a while at Kansas State. obviously we all love Ben Sinnott, but like he was kind of like a fullback type of build, a little bit bigger. And Lincoln Cure, I just feel reminds me of like a Brock Bowers. I don't want to set that bar for him by any means at all. It's a little crazy, but like a similar weapon. And he's just such a great athlete with his speed and size and ability to get open and all those things that we'll be able to use him so much more than just a run-of-the-mill tight end might be. So obviously really excited. Nice to finally get a 5-star.
Yeah.
Also,
So what's up, Aiden?
I was going to say, it's just nice to win like a huge in-state recruiting battle and win them consistently. Like, you know, this has been harped on plenty, but how many years before the Kleiman era, you know, would we have actually gotten these like really highly rated in-state guys? And they, you know, I feel like they usually just go to Clemson or, you know, stuff like that. Oklahoma. Yeah,
Twice.
exactly.
Shout out Braden Smith, Auburn.
Yeah, it's just like it feels really good that we're actually now like winning these recruiting battles, and it comes at a very important time in the college football landscape.
Yeah. All right. So this may be the brand of the show where we're going to have some controversy involving numbers every single week, but we're going to start with Connor. What number are you giving Lincoln Cure?
It's a great question. I'm giving him number 0, I think. I want him to have a single digit because to me, if you're not like a receiver or a defensive back, if you're like just a freak athlete at any position, you get a single digit number. Like Arthur Brown was number 4. Chidi Obiazor, he's number 8 right now. So I just like giving single digits to the unicorn specimens that just go out and do crazy things. Like if LeBron is on this team, I'm giving him number 6. But Lincoln Cure, you got to give him a single digit number, I think, because I know there's a lot of people that don't love messing with traditional number structure, but for the most part, I am down to try about anything with number structure and like who gets what number. So I think you got to give him 0.
I'm almost scared to ask, but Aiden, you're up next. If you give him something in the 20s, I'm driving to wherever the hell you are.
No, not the 20s. No, much worse. I'm thinking, God. You remember when ends used to be in the 70s?
Don't.
Ooh, nice 77. No,
just give him the fattest number possible.
Oh man, could you imagine? Or like even worse than that, not even a repeating digit, just like 73. Oh, just 0 drip out there, and like take away his gloves and give him low.
We're not
socks.
making him Cody Stufflebean. No,
no drip whatsoever. He's just dominating. Oh,
Christian Duffy's out of here, so we got to get somebody in 73. So there's some logic there.
That's true. See, no, legit though, I would probably 0 is a good call. I think 80 would kind of look good on him. You know, just a clean like tight end number 80. But 0 would be pretty sweet. I know he's partial to 3, but you know, Edwards will have that for the future. So I don't know, 0, 80. Those are my choices, or 73.
If it's 73, no.
He has to declare eligible every single play because.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Anyway, Hayes, I caught you mid-drink. My fault.
You're good. I think you should go with like a 13. I know that's a quarterback number. I don't care. It keeps it kind of skinny because I was kind of thinking like a 0 with Connor, but he likes 3. Edwards wears 3. Kind of meet in the middle, get a 13. I think it'd look kind of cool on a tight end. I've never seen it.
I think you're ganking Xavier Lloyd's number though. Well, he's probably graduated by that point, isn't he?
Xavier Lloyd transferred.
Oh, my fault. No, he's all.
No, wait, he's stealing Sebastian Taylor's number.
That's Seabass. That's the number.
Seabass is a dad somewhere. Ethan.
I'm pretty sure Xavier Lloyd followed Jake Rubley to like Illinois State.
Yeah, he's at Illinois State. Go Redbirds. But yeah, I looked it up, and Goodland's area code is 67735. So let's give him 35. It's the
Why not
3 and then
73?
the
It's
5
right in
star. So you put it together. It's everything you want. 35.
No.
Actually,
There's
now
the-
that you say it, 5 would be kind of sick.
Actually, yeah, 5. I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind
that's
5.
what I was thinking. In
Shades of
addition to
Jaron Lewis. I like it.
that. But
Don't say that.
He's better than Jaron Lewis.
I love Jaron Lewis instead of freshman year Avery Johnson.
Yeah, because more
Shades of
notable.
Robert Rose.
Oh, that was a guy. I rewatched a bit of a game a few days ago where Angelo Peace did something that I thought
Angelo Pease was so
Rose
underrated.
the whole time.
Oh,
I'm trying to remember what game it was. I think it might have been the Miami game in 2012. There was something I thought Robert Rose did for like the last 15 years, and actually Angelo Peace. So Angelo Peace, if you're listening to this, I wasn't properly giving you mental credit for that, so I apologize.
confused them a lot. My dad's a big Angelo Pease fan, so shout out.
Classic JUCO QB to literally any other position, Snyder pipeline.
Just put him on the field. Robert Rose was tiny too. I mean, Angelo Pease was small, but Robert Rose was. Whew. Anyway,
All right.
5.
So that's the Lincoln Cure solution solved. Now we can talk a little bit about Montario Elston, and you'll get a more complete view of this the day after this episode comes out, with Connor and I doing a more full breakdown. But this is more of an instant reaction. This happened like a week ago. This where Montario Elston committed to K-State over places like Arkansas, Missouri, Georgia Tech, and he reminds me a lot of he's lightning in a bottle. And it seems like that's sort of the prototype that Brian Anderson has been looking for in the past couple of classes. He's a diminutive back, as Lucas isn't here to get mad at me for saying manlet back, but I think he's actually the same height as me. But it is lightning in a bottle. And despite what very strange people on Twitter will say about his highlight tape being sped up, that doesn't matter, because even if he's making people miss at 1.2 speed, it's not like slowing that down a little bit. Like the people are suddenly tackling him.
The video changes.
It doesn't change the content of the video. It just makes it a little faster. But we'll start with Connor again. Connor, what was your instant reaction? And again, we do the full breakdown tomorrow, but what was your instant reaction to the Elston commit?
This is a dude I've wanted for a while. He really is fantastic. And yeah, I thought the whole sped up video thing was really weird because he ran a verified 4.4 at a Kentucky camp or something like that. So speed's not an issue there. But no, I mean, his highlight tape is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much because I want to leave stuff for other people to chew on. But man, he is just another really underrated a smaller back that I'm gonna really try and prevent myself from comparing him to every small back that K-State has ever had, because I'm sure Deuce got really sick of the Darren Sproles comps after 3 games. But
Robert Rose.
Yeah, Robert Rose. That's what I should. He's reminiscent of Robert Rose. He like that. But he's so good. He's so electric. Playmaker, I guess, is the best way to describe him. He's a playmaker.
Hayes, you got next for the private chat comment here about the best possible comp.
I have nothing intelligent to add on him. I listened to the pod tomorrow for the full breakdown, but their high school jerseys at Arkansas Little Rock are really, really sweet. It looks like if SMU did it right.
Ooh.
SMU catching a stray on a K-State pod. We'll go with Ethan next, and then Aiden, you can cap it off.
Is Montario Money Elston the best backup running back in the high school country? Some are saying, because, Coach Anderson, he has this thing where he loves to find 5'10" or less running backs that are backing up their college in these bigger metros and just pull them out to come to K-State. And, like Connor said, like he's a fast guy. He's speed. They call him money for a reason. He's cashing in sixes every few minutes. But I'm looking at the uniforms now, and they are a much better version of SMU's. They're kind of like Duncanvilles, if you know what those are, but like subdued a little bit. But they do have the shoulder lines that K-State has, so that will translate well because he has the experience and epaulets, as I like to say.
Yeah, Elston, the nickname Money, and it is kind of weird was Deuce the starting back at Round Rock?
I think he probably was, but it is kind of funny though that like this is another second recruiting cycle in a row that we've gone and got a below average size running back who backs up another Power 5 caliber running back. But the backup is still Power 5 caliber. It's like a very like oddly specific like recruiting niche for Brian Anderson to hit. But
it's happened twice.
2 nickels.
Aiden?
I'm excited about this. His tape seems like it's what you want out of college commit, like looking out of place on a high school field, not size-wise, but like, speed and agility. I had some other thought. Oh, he seems to me like one of those classic, like we get him as a 3-star, we beat out a few other Power 5 schools, and then his recruiting rating shoots up, and more schools come sniffing around. I don't think there's any danger there, obviously, but it's just like I feel like that happens so often where we, get a kid to recruit and then people go, hey, actually, this kid's really good.
Either that or they pay the K-State tax and like lose half a star.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The point is, I guess I'm just complimenting our scouting ability.
Yeah. And that's a lot of other Power 5 have sort of also complimented our scouting ability by waiting for us to offer.
Yeah, I mean, the Lincoln Cure thing.
And I do want to mention that Elston was invited to camp at places like Nebraska and like Kentucky and some other places, but like he's kind of been in the fold for longer than it seems somewhat. So like he's been a K-State guy for a while.
Did I read that he committed in December? Is that right?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. We just kept it under wraps so we could take visits.
Hey, you got to get that free bread wherever you go.
Oh man, if I was a recruit, I'd be taking any visit possible.
Okay. Well, now we're going down a different rabbit hole before we start into talking about men's basketball. Say you're like a high 2-star or low 3-star recruit. What G5 visit are you fiending to take? You can't pick Hawaii.
Coastal Carolina.
You're talking
CCU,
Coastal?
that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. FIU.
FAU.
FAU would be a good pick.
App
Have
State.
you guys seen FAU's like photos? Those things are sick.
They go all out.
Yeah.
I do like. I see the Marshall photo shoots are also pretty hype. So Marshall.
Yeah.
SMU, just because. Oh well, I mean, I guess
That's a
they're
bag,
ACC
though.
now, but
Like you're gonna get a bag. They're ACC now. I always forget that. Like there are a bunch of California.
Such a
schools that are
Mickey
ACC.
Mouse Power 4 edition. Yeah, SMU because you'd get like probably some pretty good meals.
Yeah. Coastal and FAU are really good picks. I think I'd actually go like Wyoming because I really like that part of the country. It's really naturally beautiful. And Wyoming actually isn't like in the middle of Wyoming. It's the part of Wyoming where people and life actually exist. So
Oh, Tulane,
yeah.
the food.
Ooh.
Colorado
And the
State,
uniforms.
cool for scenery.
The Raging
Food.
Cajuns, the food.
Like UTEP.
I bet Colorado State does some cool stuff up there.
Their campus is like awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Isn't their stadium sponsored by Canvas?
Oh, ew. Oh, no. The greatest source of evil ever.
UNLV to gamble my NIL money.
That's the beauty.
You got to get the advanced NIL check. All right. So now that we've talked about our ideal G5 visits, not counting Hawaii, because I feel like if we allowed Hawaii, everyone would have said Hawaii. But now we can talk about the men's Catsketball season. I'm not going to give the exact same spiel that I've given with every single guest that's ever talked about the men's basketball season in the last year. It was painful. It sucked. I have a feeling that at least 4 out of 5 of us got drunk every third game. One of us probably got drunk more than every third game, but it sucked. But this season is looking a whole lot better. So I don't know, just we're free balling it. Just anyone who has any thoughts about the upcoming men's basketball season, whether it be the players, the expectations, what we have of the schedule, which I think is the announcement of the conference schedule in the Paradise Jam. I think that's it. But yeah, just shout it out. By all means, this is not a structured show. This is a vibes show.
We better win the Paradise Jam or else.
Dog, the teams at the Paradise Jam are booty.
Tough field, man. Tough field.
It's what, Longwood, George Washington? Is LIU in there? Is it
Longwood's
LIU?
made March Madness 2 years in a row. That's more than we can say, I think.
All right.
Damn, Ethan.
I also want to point out that in this room, there exists someone who was a Marquise Noel hater before Jerome Tang's first season. I'm not saying who, but there was someone among us. But yeah, we better win the dog. That's such
It's there for the taking.
It's there for the taking. The opportunity to win a really bad pre-slate tournament exists here today.
I'm fine with it. Give me 15 or however many non-cons there are of just the easiest cupcakes of all time. It's like, it's whatever at this point.
Are we Bill Snydering the basketball schedule?
Listen, might as well.
We just better like beat the crap out of them, because if we don't, then the whole thing kind of flips on you.
We really only have a couple of like high-profile non-con games. Like I think we host LSU, if I remember correctly, and then we play at St. John's, which is just like a tough draw, I think, with the Big East Challenge, because we finished, I think, like some analytics guy, Evan Mia, I think he had us as like the 4th best portal off season. He had St. John's number 1. And that was with them losing Cliff Omarui. So St. John's had an incredible off season, and Rick Pitino's their coach, and he'll do like some like vampire magic or something, and like hopefully not mess with us too much. That game's probably going to be an MSG as well, so going to be a really big setting. But no, Paradise Jam though, if we lose a game there, I might just like give up on the season at that point. Like
we might cancel it already. It took us halfway through last season to call it, and you would call it after the opening tournament.
There's just no excuse. I was very patient last year because there were just some extenuating circumstances, and I'm a pretty patient guy. But like with the amount of talent we have on this team, if we drop a game to like one of the founding fathers in the Paradise Jam, like I am gonna blow a gasket, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal. Okay, we'll just say that we win that for the sake of all of our sanity. So I'm gonna ask you guys the same question that I asked Scott Wildcat whenever he came onto the show. And that is the question of the scoring leader for K-State also leads in what other category? So basically you're picking who is going to be the leading scorer and if they're going to lead in another thing. It's theoretically possible that the leading scorer does not lead in any other category. I sincerely doubt it, but it's possible. So we'll start with Hayes. We'll give Hayes the first shot here.
Blocks. And hear me out. I think that the easy answer for points is Doug. If it doesn't go to Doug, it's going to one of our 10 power forwards. So whichever one of those leads the team in points, they're not beating out Dave in rebounds. Because if there's one thing Dave does, it's try really, really hard. And so then I think blocks is the empty category there because we got like Coleman Hawkins is 6'10", Chor is 6'10"-ish. I don't know. I think one of them can average like just a couple blocks a game and then sneak into winning this category.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the only other category that isn't pretty well accounted for is probably like steals. Because I think assists will probably be locked up, but steals is also a strictly defensive stat, which so is blocks. But we'll Connor, you look like you wanted to say something that you were vaguely concerned about my thought process.
There are a couple of things that I wanted to say. I wasn't going to say anything because I feel like I've already talked a lot of this roundtable. But the first one was I feel like the natural conclusion from Hayes's point that the leader in points will also be the leader in blocks is that Ugo Onyenso is going to be a lottery pick after this season. Because that means that Ugo is going to be averaging, he's going to get like 4 blocks a game and like 16 points a game. And it's just going to be like a dominant first team All-American, which would be great. I'm not going to predict it, but I will say that I do appreciate these very fascinating and interesting things that we can have on the
You got to go one layer deeper, Connor.
Yeah.
It's not on Yenso because everyone's so scared of hitting the paint, like the Edie effect. And then everybody that doesn't come into the paint doesn't even reach him. Boom, bunch of blocks for the 6'10" guys.
Better yet, it's going to be Moby Akewaruka.
It's Moby, boys.
That's the man to look out for. But that was the main thing I wanted to say. But on your steals thing, yeah, I have no idea who would lead in steal. I'm just gonna like take a really stupid guess and say CJ Jones, but like we don't even know. I mean, he'll probably start, but like we don't even know for sure that he's gonna start. But like that's a tough one. So
yeah. We'll go Ethan. You got next.
Guys, y'all are overthinking this. Whoever leads the team in points will also lead the team in minutes played and screens set. Everyone who like the player who will be on the field on the floor the most will hopefully lead the team in points the most, unless David is like a defensive anchor and is on the floor no matter what. But I just think it's whoever is consistently like whoever has the most touches, whoever has the most balls in their hand,
Oh. Yeah, notorious deep shot threat David Gasson is going to shoot 35% on the year.
Yeah,
he's going to be what we thought Tyler Perry was.
It was crazy. But, who knows? Like, Hausen might catch fire and just, come in and lay out 5 threes a game. Who knows? He's not going to lead the team, but he might have the most spot-up catches and stuff.
Aiden, you got last ups? What a fascinating take by Aiden here.
I muted myself.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Let's see. Boy, Doug, probably. I'm not much of a basketball knower. I get angry at the games and then go home.
Just say assists. Just say assists.
No, I'm gonna go with shots attempted. That's another.
That's the exact same. It's hard to disagree with his logic.
See, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, probably Doug, and he's gonna lead the team in assists as well. I also kind of like Coleman Hawkins as kind of a maybe he goes off this season. I don't know, but yeah, I have nothing for this.
That's fine. So we're this next segment before we talk a little bit about the women's team, because this is going to be Connor and I's first opportunity to be really, really annoying about the women's team, and everyone else is probably also going to get an opportunity to be considerably less annoying and more reasonable about the women's team. But who is going to be your guy for the upcoming season, as in your favorite player?
Buddy Rich.
Damn. You're not even gonna let me get it off.
I had to get that in there first. I didn't want anyone else taking him. Okay.
Would you like to elaborate why, or are you just gonna leave that there?
He jump high.
It's once again, love him or hate him, it's really hard to disagree with Aiden's logic every time he speaks. It's
Have you seen the man jump? It's insane.
You know, Darrell Jones also jumps really high.
Disavow.
All right, I'll actually start this. We'll go me, then Ethan, then Hayes, and Connor for who's going to be your guy in this season. My guy is going to be, I may be stealing this from Connor, and he may not even be in the starting five, but you know what he's done? He's endeared himself to specifically Connor and I, and probably the entire fan base, because of what Hayes said earlier. You know what? Damn it. He's trying so hard. And I respect so much anyone who is willing to try as hard as he does. My guy is going to be David Gasson. Is he going to be the best player on the team? God, I hope not. But he's going to be my favorite player on the team. So, Ethan, you're up.
Yeah, I'll go with Coleman Hawkins. You know, sorry if I'm taking that from anyone. Just because, you know, he's a memer, he's a troller, he likes to talk. I like to do all those things. I feel like he's the one guy that would understand my sense of humor, if anything, and that's cool. And in terms of guys who aren't going to play, my guy is Bayfall for the vibes.
I will say that I've already found one glaring flaw in Coleman Hawkins' game, and that is he has come out as a vocal supporter of Drake winning the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef, and I feel
no, we're moving, just Bayfall, just Bayfall.
Because we found a critical flaw in bro's game here, like that. Hey,
that is pretty big.
Redact everything.
I'm back to being a women's basketball fan only. I hate to piggyback, but nobody would have ever expected this from me. But Dave is, I think, the favorite player this year. I mean, he really turned the corner for me last year, and like you guys said, he tries really hard, and you know, he was kind of an underrated scorer after the Christmas break. I remember some reporters saying that he was going to stay in Manhattan for the break, and I jokingly was like, "Oh, remember what happened to Marquise after he stayed in Manhattan for Christmas?" And then it kind of happened, just on a Dave Gasson level. And my biggest hot take for the season is that he will find a way in the starting lineup, however much that makes every listener throw up right now. But yeah, I think it's Dave, and I think the actual reason is that we won't have to rely on him for like actual really important basketball things as often. He'll get to play the Dave Gasson role more. Like, he won't be the tallest player on the court, and he won't have to rebound every ball and guard the 7-footer, and it'll be a lot more satisfying to watch him be Dave. So yeah.
So basically, your comp is like Mark Smith, basically.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, I hate to reference a rival, but like my God, what was that guy's name? Something Young. It's like the Trash Man.
Kevin Young.
Like, Kevin Young, yes. I want a Kevin Young out of Dave Gasson.
The listeners do not understand how big of a switch up this is. This is monumental from Hayes. This is unprecedented.
Yeah,
this is
I wish
Coleman Hawkins saying that Drake is better.
This is Saddam Hussein becoming an American hero.
This is. I really do wish that the full context could be fully conveyed, but I don't think I've ever known anyone to hate any particular K-State athlete as much as Hayes hated Dave for so long. And so, and to be fair, like, I don't think it was completely unjustified because he was and still is to some degree a very irritating player, but it's become an endearing thing. And I think Ace put it well when he mentioned that he, like, the entire season was high effort. And we also know that, like, at various times he's played through injury. He's high energy as well. And even back when he was not as well-liked as he is now, he was always really consistent around the rim. Like, in Tang's first year, David Gasson, like, in that Sweet 16 game, he made some really clutch baskets right around the hoop in that game. But Dave's an awesome pick. Coleman is a great pick. Ethan as well. Because, I mean, even despite the Drake stuff, he is a personality that K-State basketball, I can't remember the last time we've had a guy like him where it's like love him if he's on your team, hate him anywhere else type of guy. Like, I just don't think we've had a player that really fits that bill for a while. But, I mean, it's great picks. I'm going to roll with a chore though. Pretty much exclusively because I loved his performance in the tournament against KU, and anybody that can throw down like 2 posters against KU at any point, they're good in my book. So chore, like, if he can just like have one like similar thunderous dunk against KU this season, I'm going to feel pretty vindicated for this take. But that's probably be my guy going in to this season. But then Buddy Rich as well. That's a great pick too, because Aiden's right. He does jump really high. I saw him do that a couple times. I don't know if you guys did as well, but he did be jumping high in a few of those games.
If you look closely, if you watch closely, he does jump high.
And he can yam it too. Like
It's just the jumping. It's just the jumping.
No, not his dunking. Just simply him getting off the ground.
Yeah, it's a Buddy Rich dunk compilation, but you cut out all of the dunks. It's just him like jumping in the air, and like right when like he reaches like his like peak vertical, just cut.
I love that. Like, check this out. Whoa! Next clip.
This guy's crazy.
I'll give a little bit more context to the Hayes and Dave saga. During the Elite Eight game, I feared for my TV because he came over to my place to watch the game. I feared for my TV, but I never feared for my TV more than whenever Dave was on the whenever Dave touched the ball. I looked over at Hayes, and everything in his body just tensed up at once. Hey, Hayes, do you have anything to say? Do you want to confirm or deny these allegations?
This is true. This is very. I'm not gonna dispute these. I just want to add that I've told so many people, so we'll share it on here as well, that in the sadness that followed that game, Ace 30 minutes later, after complete darkness and silence for about 20 or 30 minutes, just put on Zay Flowers highlights. And I regret every day that I didn't listen to him and draft him in every dynasty league.
Sometimes you just gotta hold that, man. It happens to the best of us. But now that we talked, okay. Well, one final note about the men's team: is this to you a second weekend or bust team? And we'll just shout it out. Basically, just shout it out, yes or no.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not my money that we spent, but yes.
I do think there's so much talent on this team. Like it's gonna look weird, I think, and maybe lineups will look strange, and you'll wonder about how they're gonna fit in. But I think there's too much talent for them to not make the tournament and be good enough for the second weekend.
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, but this is like a team I feel like it's like really built for March, because I mean we pretty much just went out and got athletes and shooters, and that was like our main goal in the portal. That, and then go and get a guy to facilitate with Doug McDaniel. Allegedly, David Castillo was like the second coming of like Jacob Poland mixed with Steph Curry, mixed with Marquise Noel, mixed with Michael Jordan or whatever. So if he ends up being good, then like that's two distributors. I'm not counting on that though. But yeah, I think we really were very intentional with going out and getting lots of guys that can shoot from distance, because once you get to March, like there's most upsets happen because it's just some random small school that has no athletes but a lot of shooters. That's a great way to give yourself a bit of a leg up in March.
Jack Golke.
He's kind of killing it early. He had that step back.
Yeah, he made 1 3. He's 100%.
If that type of game happened to K-State, oh boy.
You might never see me again, man.
Yeah. I'd just start walking. To where, I don't know. I'd just start
start walking.
Do you guys remember Lucas?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know.
Nowhere to be seen.
Anyway, women's basketball.
Anyway, women's basketball. We got Hayes to replace him. Anyway, women's basketball. Now's our first, Connor, this is you and I's first opportunity to be really annoying about the team. There will be several other times that we are very annoying about this team. Well, Connor's more reasonable about it. I'm the one that I don't shut up about it. But just going down the roster for who should be the starting five this year, it'll end up being Serena Sundell, the Glenn twins, Ioka Lee, and then Tamira Poindexter. Oh, okay. Just casually drop that on someone's head like that. And this is this year's roster is an upgrade from last year's roster. And I feel like it's an upgrade even from the depth level. And last year's roster was a forearm that was called a flagrant away, and probably, a little bit more calls down, like a few more calls down low with Yoki.
So more than just the one. Okay.
Ethan, you were very close to never getting invited back to this. I will ban you. But Ethan's right. But it was a team that was so close and should have gone so much further last year. So what they did was they decided to get even better than last year, adding the American Player of the Year, not as in the American Conference, in Tamira Poindexter. And man, I don't really see any weaknesses in this team, like as it stands right now. Maybe outside shooting, but even then they were solid at that last year. If Taryn Sides is able to develop and just becomes the sixth player, dude, because last year the sixth player was a mixture between what Sides was in there a little bit, Eliza,
Sanchez.
Yeah, Gisela. Yeah, man, this team is going to be so freaking good, man. There's. Listen, I still am owed a waterboarding from Scott Wildcat because the women's team didn't make the second weekend. Yeah, I'm still a little upset about that, but there is a negative. Last year there were zero excuses. This year there are negative excuses for not making it to the second weekend. It would be, I think, an all-time wasting of talent. I've talked a little bit. Who wants to talk next? Hayes, you've been voluntold.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this team should be really, really good. They had all the talent last year, and like you said, they just probably got better. Replacing, I guess, in the starting lineup, it'd just be a straight Gregory for Poindexter replacement, which I don't know for sure, but Poindexter's really, really good. So it looks like it's like even at worst, or maybe he's just slightly worse than that. But everything past that got better. And Sides, I think, showed a lot of moments. I just keep thinking about the Iowa game where
the
came
logo
in
3, the logo shut up
nuts.
3,
just nuts. For a true freshman to just walk in like that in the non-con too. That was 5 games into the season, or maybe just slightly more. And so then obviously she's got that full year of development, and I feel like that's kind of a exponential curve after coming from Phillipsburg, Kansas, to playing P5 or P4. But they should be really, really good, and I'm really excited for the season. And I'm going to be Jeff Mitty will be on my personal extreme hot seat every single game for his in-game coaching, but I trust that he'll be just good enough to get him by.
All right. Before anyone else talks, we'll give Aiden his maybe 5 words of analysis here.
Wow. Ouch. The team will be good. 5 words. There we go. No, I think we'll be very good. I'm very excited about the season. I am very excited about Terrence Sides' career, and that's about it. I don't really know what else to say. I am curious to see, if we have a lull, what the fan reaction towards Mitty's tenure will be. But I'm very excited. I think we'll be very good, and hopefully we'll get farther than last year.
I hope so. Ethan?
I mean, what hasn't been said, sorry, but I think the team has some guts. We'll face some adversity before, but someone who hasn't been mentioned, Ziana Walker, the transfer from Louisville, should be pretty good this year too. So I think that I think we'll be good, and everyone said we think we'll be good. But I will double down on you. I will join your waterboarding experience just to, if we don't make it to the second weekend this year, because I love the Middies. They're great people, so I'm all on the Middie train.
Yeah, we completely forgot because Zai was like the sixth man in the for most of the year.
She's the man, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, we were going through listening to all these other great contributors, and somehow we forgot the one that was actually the first off the bench. But Zai Walker was awesome last year. I remember the biggest shot she made all year, I remember, was that 3 against Texas right as the third quarter ended. Yeah. That was absolutely massive. It ended up being the difference. But I guess we're making a habit here of naming a player that has not been mentioned yet. So I'll mention Kennedy Taylor, the transfer, who she'll be one of the first off the bench to spell Aoka Lee, because that was kind of something that we missed this year, is we had to really switch everything up. It didn't have a great rim protector most of the time when Yoki wasn't in. So Kennedy should be able to fill that void. But man, I think you're right, guys. Like if like this year isn't the year, it's gonna be really tough to see like when it can be, because I mean the stars were aligning last year. Like this year, it's like the planets have like all lined up, and like literally like every single bit of good luck that could possibly be pointed our direction is it's happening. Like Poindexter's a huge get. Taylor backfills really well. We didn't really lose any contributors in the portal. Then yeah, the Glenn twins and Serena. I think they're seniors now this year, which is kind of crazy. Because I mean, like I remember when they were starting as freshmen. That feels like it wasn't that long ago. But
and Taylor is technically a senior too, so that's another piece.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of turnover after this season. I mean, you're losing basically your entire. No, you will lose your entire starting lineup. So this is kind of a make it or break it year. Although Jeff Mitty did just get extended to 2030, which I'm fine with, especially as the new media contracts take effect. The Big Ten and SEC are just going to be able to throw like absurd and somewhat sad amounts of money at every single sport. And we're just going to have to hope that we can keep our good coaches a secret, I think, for the most part. Like, we'll have to just chain Mansfield to the doors of the morgue and just hope nobody steals them, pretty much. But
we're going to build his casket around him in the morgue.
We're going to have to do that. I mean, we got to keep him somehow. But I know this is shaping up to be such a big year for women's basketball. And last year ended with such like a dull thud, which I mean, like losing at home while hosting. I mean, like there's not a much bigger gut punch, I think, than having to watch another team hoist a trophy and make it to the second weekend on your home floor. I mean,
and then almost kill you while you're trying to drive back home.
Yeah, that's a you problem, but I really hope that everybody's going back with some fire in their belly. But I'll let you explain that, Ace.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the team bus for Colorado, while I was driving back home, a gust of wind hit the bus, and I drove like on that grass median for probably a good couple hundred feet because the bus ate the lane that I was in on the highway. So that was fun. So that was a little insult to injury. But the last question that I'll leave off with the women's basketball season is, I have my answer, and my answer is probably obvious, but which Catsketball are you more excited for, men's or women's? My answer is very obvious, and it's women's. Like, I don't even have to put the qualifier of, oh, well, men's is a revenue sport, but if you're like evening out that, yeah, no, it's women. No. It's women's, and there's no handicap applied here at all. I am so unbelievably hyped for the women's basketball season because the entire roster, we went through the entire roster and we only mentioned Ioka Lee once. That is insane that Ioka Lee is not like the primary headliner of every single discussion for the women's basketball team. And that's just a credit to how the roster has been constructed. So the order we'll go is Aiden, Ethan, Hayes, Connor, and then we'll do our respective sign-offs. But we'll start with Aiden. Are you more excited for men's or women's team?
Women's. I think they have the higher ceiling, larger capacity to win. Obviously excited for the men's team as well, but they feel kind of reversed. It's like the men's team is a bonus this year, and the women's team is like, what we're hunkering down to watch, and like, hopefully we can get super deep in the tournament.
Ethan?
Yeah. I don't know. Since I'm going second, I think I'll hammer home their third. I guess I'll hammer home that the women's team should be the main attraction this year. If you're on campus or could drive to get there, they're really special. They're gonna be. It's gonna be a great farewell tour for a lot of great players. Ayoka Lee doesn't get mentioned a lot because it's crazy to think how much we've taken her for granted, but at the same point, like, hopefully I want to see her play in the conference schedule a lot more this year. So yeah, excited for women's team, excited for the men in March too. So
Hayes?
I mean, it for me pretty much just boils down to like saying that the men are second weekend or bust feels like a stretch almost, or like you got to like push things just a little bit to just fully accept that. But saying that the women are second weekend or bust feels just like a formality. Like they better make it. Like it's really that or bust. So those are the expectations with them, and I really look forward to watching that come together.
And now, Connor, you get the last word.
I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to say the men only just because the big difference to me in terms of my excitement is that we have a lot of at least unknown K-State commodities with the men. The women, there's the excitement of everybody returning. But the men, it's largely unknown. And I'm really excited to see the way this team gels. And that's no fault of the women because I'm also really excited for the women. I'm pretty much excited for every K-State sport this upcoming year in one way or another. But the K-State men, I guess there's also some excitement. Given that we kind of know that like there's a lot riding on this season for Jerome Tang. And like, can you recapture that magic of the first season? Because that first season was like one of the most fun individual seasons ever for any K-State sport, I think. And the women, they're ever so close to being at the men here. I think if you guys had all said the men, I probably would have said the women. If we're being like honest, I just didn't want it to be unanimous. But the men, there's a lot to really be excited for. Even if I think Hayes, I think you said it well. Like the women, it's like we're expecting fully that they make the second weekend. Like the men, it's like we're like they need to make the second weekend, but we're like kind of crossing our fingers a little bit. But the women, they have the talent to like do it and like do it easily.
Yeah, it was almost a clean sweep for women. It was almost a clean sweep. But now we're just going to go through and sign off. If you just want to say your name and say goodbye to all the Alleycats listening, go ahead. If you just want to tag your Twitter account, which I think only one of you probably would do because one of you operates your super secret burner with one of the best tags that no one will ever be able to access anymore. Okay. So we'll just go around the table. Who wants to sign off first? Aiden, you're signing off first. There you
go. Bye, everybody. I don't have a Twitter / please don't find it. Excited for the basketball teams and the future of K-State athletics. And the football team got on the new Nike uniform template, which is kind of exciting to like me and two other people.
Congratulations, Ethan.
Toodaloo to the remaining listeners of this part of the pod. Don't follow me, but follow Ace Edwards 00. That's AC Edwards 00.
All right, Hayes.
Yeah, I'm Hayes. See you guys. Keep listening to the Alleycats.
Thank you all for listening to this episode of Nights in the Ville. If you want to follow or contact the show, you can follow us just about anywhere at Aggieville Alleycats. And if you want to email us, we're AggievilleAlleycats@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on a more personal note, as Ethan so helpfully provided, I am at ACEdward00.
I'm at Connor Baltzor, capital C, capital B.
And if you want to support the show financially, please be sure to check out the official merch store or the supporters link, both in our podcast and Twitter bios. But most importantly, thank you all for listening to this episode of Nights in the Ville, and stay safe, Alleycats.